So thank you, everyone. Happy 420. My name is Richard Cox, and I serve as the managing director of Code420 events. And we are a education and diversity platform for the cannabis industry. And we've been in this industry for a little more than 5 years. And we are just so happy to have some of the great talents of the cannabis industry always come through our doors and always say hello to us along the way. Tonight, we do have a special guest is coming on board. The one and only Makeda Valletta will be with us in just a few short moments. But also, I just want to encourage you to follow us here on Instagram. And also, besides following us here on Instagram, please, feel free to join us on our LinkedIn. And as part of our LinkedIn, you'll be able to register for the event coming up on this Tuesday, April 20th. So once again, please, Code420 event is coming up on Tuesday, April 20th. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, we have, been in part of this industry for the last 5 years, and we are so happy that this afternoon that we have the pleasure of being with Makeda Valletta, who has been part of the industry, especially as an advocate and so forth. We try to keep these interviews to almost to 4 minutes and 20 seconds. So let's just get right to it. First of all, Makeda, thank you for joining us.
Oh, sure. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. So let's get right to the chase. You're already renowned as a leader in sports and nutrition, and strength management, even in the cultural arts with dancing. How did you add cannabis to your portfolio?
Well, first of all, I grew up with, my dad. He's one of the smartest people I know. He's an old school Black intellectual. And all my life, he smoked cannabis. And his friends who were also people who are involved in the civil rights movement, Black scholars, educators. And I remember when I was like maybe 12 or 13, my dad said to my brother and I don't care if you smoke, but just wait till you're 18, till your brain is fully developed. I remember him saying that to us. And so I wasn't somebody, even though my dad smoked and he never tried to hide it, I wasn't a teenager smoking weed. I didn't start until I was in college, actually. But just from watching him and other friends of his, I was never convinced that it was something that made you dumb or, anything like that. So then once I was in college, I was an athlete. I was running track and I was a dancer. And I started smoking weed then. It wasn't all the time. Like I smoke more weed now than I did back then. But myself and other athletes, all of us did. And it helped us with bringing us down after competitions and practice. And also I was on a dean's list. It helped me I remember being the semester I smoked the most weed, I was on a dean's list. I was so interested in what the professor was saying. So for me, it helped me focus more. Then as a dancer, it really helps me get into my zone. I also drum as well. And so if I smoke before I do so, I don't have to. But when I do, it just helps me calm down and get into my zone more. So for me, it just is something that helps me to connect more. And so that was that. But then in the past, maybe the past 3 years, I started learning more about the medicinal side and using it topically. And I have clients that I work with that have autoimmune diseases, that have infectious diseases, that, chronic illnesses. And I've seen it help a lot of people with a lot of different issues. And so that's when it became even more added to my list of things. Because I feel like sports medicine, for example, drugs athletes up with all kinds of toxic anti-inflammatory drugs. And, cannabis oil is a very potent anti-inflammatory substance that's natural, that helps your body heal. Whereas if you take NSAIDs, which are non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, they actually stop your body from healing and they cause a lot of damage. So I feel like, my approach to everything I do is keeping it as natural as possible.
Right. So where did the disconnect come in between the sports world You know, we're looking at Major League Baseball, you're looking at the NBA, even the NHL, or even Major League Soccer. You know, where did that disconnect go? I mean, they do not actually endorse cannabis in any way for athletic recovery, for any type of athletic performance, but yet, you know, they're secretly out there trying to, you know, marginalize themselves in position. So where do you think that disconnect went?
Well, it's so funny because I had a conversation with somebody yesterday. There was somebody on a Clubhouse who had said that it was actually a performance enhancer, and that because there was some snowboarders who were talking about how they smoked before they snowboarded and how it helped them, and somebody said, well, it's actually a performance enhancer, and that's the reason why they don't want athletes to do it. But for me, I'm a sports nutritionist, and when you study sports nutrition or become a sports nutritionist, like we study performance enhancers, and I've never seen marijuana listed as a performance enhancer at all. And instead, I think that it comes from, you know, pharmaceutical lobbyists and just the whole stigma all this time that weed was so horrible. So therefore, it's like, you know, it just got put on a list. It got put in that on the list of like class 1 banned substances. So I feel like for that reason is the reason why, you know, they, you know, probably tried to ban it. And also because I could say that pharmaceutical companies could be trying to suppress it because it takes away their money. But I don't know for a fact that 20 years ago they knew how all these medicinal properties about cannabis. I'm not sure that they actually knew that. But I can definitely say now that drug companies don't like things tapping into their pocket. The sports medicine doctors, all they do is drug up athletes. So I feel like when I was in college, I felt like, or in, you know, afterwards, I felt like they suppressed it because there was this stigma that, oh, it's going to make you slow and dumb when you're playing sports, and therefore it's going to decrease your performance. But I don't really know, you know, and I think that it just also came from the stigma of weed just being bad, period. So I don't really know, but I don't know of it as being a performance enhancer, even though it can, if it helps you recover faster, it can help you recover faster. But pharmaceutical companies don't make money off of that, and so therefore they're going to suppress anything that, you know, they're not making money off of.
Yeah, that's very, very true, because if you take a look at the major pharmaceutical companies out there, they do not have a complete stronghold on that cannabis market. And so you're correct. They're going to keep suppressing it as long as they can. You know, it's almost going back to the 1970s, probably before your time, between the whole thing between the solar industry and the oil industry, how the industry kept suppressing one another because they didn't have a complete control of the outlook. So you have a young athlete out there, somebody who's now in college, someone who's looking to get out there and really make a, you know, an athletic performance. Is there a way they should treat the cannabis in terms of their workout routine?
Yeah, well,
Is there a way they should really intertwine it?
well, for me, you know, I feel like if you're dealing with injuries or pain, I feel like applying it topically is really, really good to help an athlete recover faster and with pain. And because when you are an athlete professionally or on a college level, you're constantly putting stress on your body. And then certain sports come with even more pain and harm. So I feel like it's way better, because I remember when I was a freshman, I had bad shin splints, and the sports medicine doctor put me on anti-inflammatories. And one day I was in so much pain. I had so much stomach pain. I went there, I couldn't even stand up. And he looked at my chart and he's like, oh, you've been on anti-inflammatories for this many months, and that can cause ulcers. And he took me off of it. So it's like the drugs that they are, that they give athletes is toxic to their long-term health, you know? And I also think in the case of football, okay, because then when you talk about smoking, it's totally different. But in the case of a sport like football, where they are constantly being banged up and, you know, being told to go back out there, and football to me is the most like testosterone rah-rah sport there is, even more so than boxing. If you have to be like so, you know, crazy and hyped up to play that sport, you need something to bring you down from that, you know, like, so I feel like for a football player and just other athletes too, who have to be so riled up, that can also help bring them down from that. And I think too, like when I was listening to this snowboarder yesterday, he was talking about how he liked to smoke before he snowboarded because it really helped him get in his zone. Now, when it comes to consuming it, it can have a different effect on different people. For some people that may not work. For me, like even when I go to the gym now and work out, smoking beforehand helps me get very focused on my workout. But for some people that case, I'm not always saying that smoking it is the right thing for an athlete, but for sure, using it topically is, you know, to help heal from injuries and soreness and all of that.
So where do you see this plant-based nutrition leading to? Now, we're not talking about plant-based in terms of being a vegan. We're talking about in terms of, that's a different discussion,
Yep.
but we're talking more about plant-based in terms of nutrition. Do you see it just being limited to shakes, cocktails, brownies? Where do you see nutrition going in this plant-based society?
For me, like, that's something I actually want to learn more about. But I think that, first of all, you know, people learning how to deal with it themselves, and also small batch companies, like small companies, because I feel like the thing with like the edibles and stuff like that, and the commercialization of it, you have a lot of people that are creating edible products that are full of other toxins. You know, like you're getting like cannabis lemonade or gummies, and it has, or cookies, and it has soybean oil and all kinds of sugar and artificial colors. So that kind of like negates the purpose. I feel like when people are cooking with it, like, you know, it's in a grass-fed butter or in some type of ghee or olive oil, I feel like that's way healthier. So I feel like, I mean, I can see it going a lot of places, but I think that cooking savory foods with it, because a lot of people, when they focus on edibles, they're focusing on sweets and cookies and brownies, and that stuff isn't anyway, you know, even without the cannabis, it's not healthy. So I feel like for people who are really trying to deal with their health, I see it going more into cooking with it in savory foods. Like, you know, butter and coconut oil, those are already really good for you. I do think that people have to learn about that, though, about dosing and stuff. And there's somebody who I follow on Instagram who is, she's in Brooklyn. I think her name is Diego La Diosa. That's her expertise, and she's somebody that I would like to learn from, because she is a very knowledgeable cannabis chef. And when you start cooking with it, you do have to understand about dosing, so you don't OD, you know, you don't go too far. But I think that I can see it going more into a commercial realm of cannabis infused crap, but I can also see the people who are more aware of good quality products seeking out small batch products that are made holistically, and also people learning themselves how to cook with it and deal with it, you know, infuse it.
But what also, let's take a look at physical health. You know, people using cannabis to work on themselves physically, like through oils and other substances. Where do you see that industry going?
I see it blowing up, because I already see a lot of people creating products, you know, already. So, you know, there's a product that I sell, and a company I work with called Miracle Nut out of Detroit. And the person that, the people that make it are people that I know very well. It's a Black-owned company, and they don't put any chemicals in it's just coconut oil. It's cannabis infused coconut oil, but even the cannabis that they grow doesn't have chemicals. But a lot of stuff that you do get from dispensaries, the cannabis is full of chemicals. The stuff that is in is full of chemicals. So I see it going both ways, but I see it, you know, I can see it being used more in women's health. You know, there are a lot of issues that women have sexually, or just in women's health, and I see it going more, you know, for the sports medicine side of things, dealing with pain and injuries. You know, I see massage therapists using it, because, you know, people can go to a massage to relax their muscles. They may have spazzing muscles, and that can help with that, because it has such powerful anti-inflammatory properties, as well as, you know, microbial properties as well. So, I mean, I see it, I feel like the sky's the limit. I just feel like, you know, there's going to be a battle between big companies that are making crap, just like the food industry, and then small batch, more holistic products.
Well, we can be wrapping this up pretty soon, but where do you see yourself personally on a supply chain? I mean, do you see yourself one day being a grower? Do you see yourself being a processor? Do you see yourself being a distributor? Where does Makeda see herself in the industry leading up to today?
I see myself being an educator, you know, possibly a distributor. I mean, I would like to learn how to grow, but that's so complicated. Like, I don't, you know, I might grow something for myself. I don't see myself doing that on a large scale. But I would like to be an educator and educate, first of all, medical doctors, because even with all the legalization happening, doctors don't really know about how to prescribe cannabis for, you know, medicinally, if they don't understand how it works. So I feel like somebody has to educate the medical doctors on the medicinal uses and how to even understand that. And so I would like to do that, as well as educating the general public, and as a distributor for, you know, cannabis-based products that I believe in. Yeah, so that's where I see myself.
Great. So let's have some fun.
Okay.
East Coast or Midwest?
East Coast.
Deep dish or folded?
Okay, that's a hard. It depends on the day. I mean, like me, the whole Chicago thing, I feel like I've been here for 4 years, and before that, I had been here several times, and I didn't realize. I just realized like last summer that deep dish is made different ways in different places. So I've had deep dish from one place that I like. I don't know that I like all of the ways they do it, and I feel like the flat pizza I've had in Chicago, because they also have that. I don't feel like it's as good as New York pizza, but perhaps I haven't been to all the places. So yeah, so for me, it just depends on the day.
Chicken wing flats or chicken wing drums?
I don't like chicken wings. I don't like chicken breast.
All right, last question. Hamilton Heights or Sugar Hill?
Sugar Hill.
There you go. Great answer. Makeda,
Yeah.
It was a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you for all your dedication. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your education. And thank you for staying true.
No, thank you as well. Have a good day.
All right.
All right.
Take care.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.